Today I would like to introduce the company shortly, and then I would like to talk or present you how the modern approach towards safety and design is influencing the modern CNG storage type 4, so fully composite, both for gas transportation, for bulk hauling, and for the CNG vehicles, NGVs. Our company is standing on the 3 legs in terms of activities. The first is the LPG cylinders made entirely from the composite. The biggest advantage of this technology for LPG is, of course, the weight. We reduce the weight for about 50%. There is no corrosion, so there is no repainting or rework of the cylinder after some time. And for the final user, the biggest advantage beside the weight saving is, of course, the transparency of the cylinder. This is liquid, so you can see the volume of the cylinder, which is still in the cylinder as in a Coca-Cola bottle. The second part of the activities is automotive, passenger cars, buses, and trucks. I will come back to that. And the third one, which is today the largest, is energy transportation, so 10 to 50 foot modules for the gas transportation, high pressure. Company is a Norwegian-based company, privately owned. Headquarters is in Ålesund, in the west coast of Norway. The biggest production facility is located in Lincoln, Nebraska, in the middle of cornfields. We have there over 380 employees. I'm located in Norway, in Raufoss, where we assemble bus systems to the complete tracks, and we produce both LPG cylinders for the barbecue operation and small cylinders for the automotive until 100 liters. We also do have a trader in Russia. We are, end of this year, opening another bus assembly place in Indonesia, in Jakarta, to support Asian markets. And later this year, we will also, we will also open the assembly, the assembly in Brazil together with company Convagas. This is how the grow in our company looked like in the recent years. This is, of course, since 2005. Mainly because of the shale gas revolution in US. This is in million NOK, so Norwegian kroner, that's roughly $160–70 million. If you compare us to the OEMs or to the gas companies, that's still a small or low number. But in the composite world and the composite cylinders world, we are at least 4 times larger than our biggest competitor. To give you the scale, there are 3 largest users of the industrial carbon fiber. The first one is Airbus, the second is Hexagon, and the third one is Boeing. So despite the production of 787 Dreamliner, we are still larger than Boeing. Our customers, we can basically split them into 3. The first one, of course, the big LPG distributors. The second one, automotive. And the third one, energy and transportation. I will come back to the portfolio regarding the automotive. What is then needed for the CNG development in a country like Israel? We have seen this kind of discussions many times recently in Russia or in Australia. We have few ideas and few key points which in our opinion are crucial. The first, of course, is the price difference in the fuel. If you are looking for a different, cheaper fuel, then you need to have this price difference, which is today present in Israel. Emission requirements, especially for the city operation, for the buses and for the distribution trucks. You need the source of the gas, of course, infrastructure and regulations, and last but not least, but probably the most important, is the goodwill. Someone needs to step and begin to trust in natural gas and try to convince both industry and the authorities that this is safe and this is a good alternative. As we look into Israel, I believe we have more than enough gas. You have the so-called Leviathan fields for the offshore distribution. You can always produce a biogas, which, beside providing the gas, is also taking care of waste management. Israel is a rather small country, so if you could reduce space needed for the garbage, that's probably also value for you. And the third option, which especially Audi and Volkswagen are pushing now in Netherlands, is production of natural gas from the energy. They produce energy from the wind, and they convert it to natural gas or to hydrogen. This is why or how you can get Audi A3 G-Tron in Netherlands with subsidies with zero emission, because there is basically no emission with the production of the gas. If we look at the distribution, I would like to touch a little bit upon possible scenarios always when you talk about distribution of the gas. The first one is, of course, to build a pipeline to the natural gas vehicle station or to the industry. The alternative is a virtual pipeline. This is what have become the largest business for Hexagon in the recent years. This is the example of the Titan module. This module is able to take 49,000 liters of the gas at 250 bar. Each of the tanks is 12 meter long, 1 meter in diameter, and only neck mounted. So you have neck mounted cylinder, fully composite type for sitting on the neck mount at the ends of the container. We use over 1,000 kilograms of carbon fiber to produce each of the cylinders. Then, of course, cylinder is more expensive than steel, but it's giving you tremendous advantages, such a capacity, because you save at least 70% of the weight. You have very large cylinders, so you, in the best possible way, utilize space given within the footprint of the container. And because it's 49,000 liters, which is at least 3 times more than steel container is able to take with the road weight limits, with this technology we are basically competing with LNG delivery. We still take less LNG than a LNG container, of course, but because LNG processing is much more expensive than just compressing the CNG, we have seen the customers, which, especially in US, which stepped down from LNG and just committed entirely to the CNG. For the customers requiring smaller amount of gas or more flexibility in delivery, we have a SMARTORE solution, which is based on standard ISO 20-foot container. The modern or the next generation SMARTORE, which will be introduced to the market next year under DOT approval, will take 23,000 liters to 150 bar. As you can see, you could have you cannot see, but you could have up to 2 containers per 140-foot trailer, meaning that with one trailer you could split delivery to 2 customers. Then this is again significantly reducing the cost of the logistics. There is also option to have a garbage truck collecting the container, as we have with E.ON in Sweden. They are basically using standard garbage truck, delivering container to the site, dropping it in 2 minutes, and just taking it at the end of the day when the container is empty. So SMARTORE is providing you the more flexibility if that's needed. During these days here in Israel this week, I have heard many times that delivery with the container is very inefficient and much more expensive than the pipeline. This is why I have prepared this slide to show you how much gas actually you could deliver. Again, this is 49,000 liters. 2 SMARTORE are just 36,000 liters, so in this comparison I try to stay modest. 36,000 liters, 46,000 liters at 250 bar will give you approximately 9.5, 9.7 tons of gas delivered. If you look at the standard size of the CNG storage on the city bus, 12-meter bus, as you have seen in Iveco, MAN, Solaris, all these buses have the same capacity basically for 12-meter bus. Then the total capacity is 220 kilograms. With just one trailer, 40-foot trailer, you could support fueling of 50 buses. In my opinion, this is quite interesting number. If you have one of the biggest fleets today in Europe is 250 buses in Stockholm. They are basically able to run the show with just 5 trailers per day. In my opinion, this is quite good. And by utilization of the trailers, they are combining natural gas and biogas delivery for the same purpose. And the picture at the bottom is showing recent delivery of Iveco buses to Azerbaijan, which was quite exotic projects for us. They have purchased over 300 buses with the same system type as you have had in Israel in the recent months for the Iveco demo bus. Of course, our trailers are used worldwide by the customers which like to test our abilities. We have over 650 trailers on the roads today. I can safely say that today we haven't lost even one. There was no rupture or leakage from even one cylinder. I'm not saying that will never happen, but we have plenty of accidents, and until today no one was hurt by this technology. Rollover is one of the possible scenarios. This is why we always close the valves when we move this trailer. We have also drive-away protection in case someone will not disattach fueling port and move the trailer. Then breakaway coupling will work, and then there will be no leakage or rupture also from a station. As you can see, our trailer with this is standard Titan 4, so this is 32,000 liters, just 4 cylinders. The entire piping is sitting just on the back of the trailer, on the back side of the wall. This is the strongest and most rigid part of the trailer. The rest of the trailer is doing all the time like this. So this is why you have decided to have longitudinal cylinders horizontally mounted in order to secure the movement, or to decrease the movement of the piping. Because all the time when the piping starts to roll or start to move, then you are after some time you are introducing leakages. And here is the flow shutoff, which is old generation shutoff, because we are now introducing also the new one. Fire safety, because of course because you have tires, you have brakes, there is always possible scenario that there will be a fire. Our trailer is the only trailer equipped with the composite cylinders, which is protected through the entire length of the trailer. As you see, the activation lines are running through the entire length of the container, and venting is located only here. So for the responses and for the fire protection units, this is quite easy to isolate the danger related to the fire. Fire protection system is, as always, activated when there is a temperature over 110 degrees. This allows cylinders to vent together with the fire and do not allow to have explosion. Beside the standard delivery to the mother stations or to the NGV stations, we have seen projects, especially in Indonesia or Malaysia, where they connect our small smart stores together with the mobile compressor. This allows them to also satisfy demand with the very small customers, meaning that they are able to fill even passenger cars on the streets without any cost related to the station building. This is something what, in my opinion, also should be at least calculated when the investment is coming in place. Now, going back a little bit to the NGVs, this is to some extent repetition, but at least I want to show you the graph located on the top right side of the slide. Always when you talk, especially in Europe today and in US, about zero emission solution, then they are talking about electrics. If you look at the total emission, not only tailpipe emission values, then of course how they produce electricity is the most important part of the calculation. And beside Norway and Scandinavia, basically all places in the world are having quite significant emission related to the electricity production. Therefore, also electrical vehicles are having some kind of emission. This is also something which you should think about. This was touched upon today. That's also one of the most important advantages of CNG Euro 6 engines and technologies, that you don't need to have a very complicated system together with AdBlue, which is taking care of the emission, especially on the particle side. Even without the AdBlue and without the after-treatment system, you are able to bring down particulars emission, which are the most difficult and most dangerous for the people, to very low level. This is requirement according to Euro 6, and this is the real number based on the CNG Euro 6 engine. A little bit about the cylinders. As I've mentioned before, we are producing only CNG Type 4 cylinders. We've been playing around with Type 3 cylinders until 2005. However, when we've purchased Lincoln Composites at the time in 2005, we have seen the advantage, and we have decided to focus entirely on Type 4, because that was also the direction market took in recent years. So first of all, cylinder is 70% lighter than Type 1. It's still 15% lighter than Type 3. There is no fatigue or no corrosion. Cylinders entirely made from non-metallic materials, so you don't have any corrosion or metal fatigue. And in long-term run, if you compare all the total cost of the ownership and all the calculations, we claim that despite the higher purchase cost, Type 4 is cheaper to use than any other type of the cylinder. A little bit about our design philosophy, which is to some extent different than other manufacturers also of composite cylinders. We tend to like big cylinders because always when you produce largest possible cylinders for the given footprint, you are not only maximizing the volume, but you are also reducing the amount of pipes and valves which are needed to keep up with the volume. So for the buses, we are the only one which are able to provide 1,900 or even 2,000 liters cylinders with only 5 longitudinal cylinders. For a truck, on the right side you have a picture of 26-inch tank, which is our bestseller today in the US for the heavy-duty market. With this type of a cylinder, we are able to provide up to 650 liters, 250 bar with one cylinder. And this is appreciated by the US market. We delivered this year around 65,000 cylinders of this type for the US market. And we have over 80% of the market in US today. Our biggest customer is Agility Fuel Systems, which is nominated by OEM's official converter. And we are happy to be their strategic and exclusive partner. Thank you. As for the piping, again, by introduction of large cylinders, you are reducing the piping, therefore you are reducing possible leakage scenario. We are using Sandvik piping and switch connectors, so this is very high quality stuff, but still in the time after a few years of usage, piping tend to be the most problematic part of the system. A little bit about neck mount assembly again. Because we are using only neck mounts when we can, we are skipping few possible problems related to the strap mounts. First of all, this is maintenance-free solution for the strap mount. After 5 or 6 years, the rubber is becoming old and rigid. Therefore, you need to change the rubbers which are part of the strap mounts. By introduction also of the neck mount, we are giving the cylinder possibility to grow together with the pressure. On one side we have a rigid assembly which is holding the cylinder and the pipes in one position. The second is sliding end, which is then allowing cylinder to grow together with the pressure. So we are not translating any stresses to the piping and the valves. Impact safety, my management didn't allow me to show you the accidents. This is why I will only tell you that our cylinders are according to EC, ISO or DOT standards. And until today, especially on the buses, on the rooftops, we haven't lost even one cylinder. We had the leakages from the piping and from the valves when especially in Stockholm, when Emma and bus drove to the bridge, but none of our cylinders have failed us. So again, Hexagon bus systems, which are mainly assembled in Raufoss in Norway, and they are located on the bus rooftop. We are the leading manufacturer of these systems. This year we will deliver for non-US activities over 1,200 systems. In Europe we have over 85% of the market, and this is still growing. Beside the neck-mounted large capacity cylinder, we have multifunctional valves on the system, we have PRDs, and we have pipes and the connectors. If we are talking about the valves, then modern CNG valve located on the bus and truck have few key points which are keeping this safe. First of all, the solenoid valve, which is electronical valve connected to the engine ignition. So once the engine is shut, driver is shutting down the engine, then the valve, so also the flow is also closed. You always get also the manual valve, which is allowing you to independently shut down each of the cylinders. You get excess flow valve in terms there is a piping or connector leakage. If there is a flow over 6 bar, then also cylinder is shutting down. And of course we have PRDs, so pressure relief devices, which are activated at the temperature of 110 degrees. We have up to 3 PRDs per cylinder. in the recent years, the idea of the OEMs is to redirect the PRDs from the horizontal to the vertical. We of course can do this, and in the last 2 years, basically all OEMs have started to copy this. And now, if there is a rooftop-mounted system and there is a leakage, then gas will be vented upwards. I have touched upon piping and connectors. Again, we are using only Swagelog and Sandvik equipment. This is a little bit more costly than the alternatives, but at least this guarantee to some extent low maintenance issues or lack of maintenance issue with our technology. So this is how the system looks like in principle. Again, the same system was present on the EVACO bus, which was driving here for the last weeks. China buses is bringing shortly 4 Yutong buses equipped with the system. However, according to the Israel standard, Israel standard is demanding to split the system in 3. The first part of the system is before the air conditioner, second in the middle of the bus, or the third one at the end of the bus. We have no issue with that. It's more costly and is providing less capacity for the final user, but we are basically able to follow up requirements from the authorities if that's needed. We can provide from 500 to 2,000 liters on each rooftop. Again, in Europe, you may find our systems on EMA and Iveco, Solaris, Sur. In Russia, that's MAS, also KAMAZ. In Indonesia, that's Scania, and we are also happy to be approved by all OEMs in Turkey. I have to finish now, so just a final slide, especially for the fleet operator. If you have doubts regarding the capacity or regarding the cost efficiency of the CNG, you might find even a simple tool on the MAN website, which allows you to at least have an initial calculation and comparison related to the cost of the fleet. And the last slide, I just wanted to show to let you know, or to make you sure that we have passed a long way, and that modern CNG development is allowing you to have a very modern, clean, and safe transportation solution. Thank you.